geez, it's Thursday, and it's Rumor Innuendo. I'm Dominic DeAngelo of SEScoops.com, adfreeshows.com, and I am here, as usual, Robert Karpeles, WE Creative _ish. Robert, happy Thursday to you. Some good stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited what we're going to get to on the run sheet. I'm not just saying that because Dom sent it like 2 minutes ago, and I have not read it. So I'm sure whatever we're going to be talking about, says right here, AEW Dynamite to Dynasty and a Vince McMahon update. Damn. Yeah. All right. I'm intrigued, Dom. Tell me more.
Okay, let's talk more, huh? So, yes, Dynamite took place last night. The main event was Claudio Castagnoli.
Castagnoli.
Thank you, Castagnoli.
It's our Pygmalion segment of the show.
Taking on Will Ospreay. But then we had some build to the main event of Dynasty when Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland. Jon Moxley cut a promo. What'd you think of this Dynamite here, Robert?
Interesting show across the board. I think when we talked about it yesterday, we said you can lean on really strong matches to cover everything else. So overall, fine show. Didn't make me watch it and go, man, I absolutely need to go check out the Dynasty pay-per-view. And the way the Bucks have talked about it in interviews, they kind of know that. They're saying, look, we are relying on the fact that we do pay-per-view better than anybody else. And if you want to tune into a show that's going to have 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8-star matches, hey, that's the company for you. If you want weekly episodic television, you got the other guys.
Yeah, it did feel like that. It didn't, nothing really super duper packed a punch. I didn't think there was anything huge, major missteps in certain aspects, but
I will politely disagree with you.
Okay, well, that's totally fine. Yes. Go on. What do you have?
We have been critical on this show, on other shows, and other walks of life, with your good, close personal friend, Mr. Tony Khan, who you'll be talking to in about 2 hours, occasionally has not put a premium on titles, made them feel important. Last night, the IWGP World Heavyweight title feels like the most important championship in the world. Moxley's dream for 4 years was to hold this prestigious title. And my God, kids, he did it. He opened Dynamite. And going forward, I can't wait to see who is the IWGP World Champion. Thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, Jon Moxley. You have made this belt a title.
That's it. That's a great point. Moxley is very compelling at cutting promos, and this one was no different. And it positioned the IWGP Championship as a very big deal. And his world title, the AEW World Championship, does not feel that way. It feels like, oh, hey, we have this one too. Don't forget about this one. We're talking about it. We're covering it. But guess what? We let off with Jon Moxley returning and talking about the IWGP, New Japan's title. And so, that was definitely a big misstep, I will say. And, you do kind of make the relation still, obviously, with Moxley and AEW as a brand. But hey, he's a different champion, and now he's stating the law down. And you have these guys, these elements of Samoa Joe, and you have Swerve Strickland and Moxley. Hopefully, MJF might return at some point here soon enough, and get those names positioned. But you're really setting yourself behind by doing this kind of thing and making the IWGP Championship feel like a big deal. But your championship itself feels like almost an afterthought at this juncture.
The championship felt like an afterthought. The way that it was booked with Joe and Swerve, it was like Tony felt obligated to have to do a storyline with these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We said when you talked about the show yesterday, we said, you've already set up your match. You've already had your confrontation. You've had your blood. Keep them separate. So when they said you're going to hear from one, you're going to hear from the other, just that little, that chef's kiss of, I'm the champion and I'm going to retain. I'm the challenger and I'm going to beat you. I'm good. I didn't need the tacked on at the end confrontation. Yes, it was cool to see Swerve do the jump onto the security guys. What did that beatdown get you?
Right. that seems like stuff that you would separate over the course of weeks to build to a match. And even the sit down interviews were good, I thought, but it was like, okay, that's what you should be doing. And I'm not like, okay, I need to buy this pay-per-view now to get it.
And some of it on the show, unfortunately, last night was sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. We said you were going to get the Bucks and Okada versus Pac, Danny Garcia, and Penta, and it was going to feel like a thrown together six-man that's going to make the Pac Okada match feel lesser than. And in my personal opinion, that's what it felt like. It did not feel like, Pac and Garcia and Penta were at the same level as Okada and the Bucks. And guess what? Okada and the Bucks won, and most likely Okada is going to win on Sunday. So why am I more intrigued, more excited to see these guys face off, Dom?
Yeah, no, it's also a good point. It's just, and you're mixing these guys up. Like, hey, Okada and Pac, just on paper, sounds very intriguing, and these guys could complement one another extremely well, I think.
It could be intriguing, but Pac has been off TV for, like, he's not a guy who means much of anything.
Yeah, and so it's like you're setting him up for guys that, I don't need to, that don't have a backstory to them that you can really sink your teeth into for Okada, and which in turn makes a big signing like Okada feel like, hey, secondary, for lack of a better word. But it's just like, there's some frustrating aspects going into this show. Like,
well, speaking of secondary, Mercedes Moné,
yes,
her backstage promo was, to me, one of my all-time favorite people is Bobby the Brain Heenan. So I'm going to caveat that. One of Heenan's not great moments was Bash at the Beach 96, when Hogan comes down and he's like, well, here comes Hogan, but whose side is he on? Mercedes Moné saying the lights went out. Julia Hart, I know it was you, or maybe it was someone else. Well, yeah, we all kind of know it's going to wind up being someone else, but like, don't do that. Her coming out after with Willow Nightingale and that match, that felt confusing because the crowd doesn't know how to respond to Mercedes. Are we cheering her? Does she think Willow is the one who's attacking her? Are we trying to pretend we know it's not going to be Chris Statlander? Like, what are we doing?
Right. What are we doing? And it just speaks. We just mentioned the two names, Okada and Mercedes Moné. They make debuts. You want to set them up for a big deal. They kind of just feel part of the team now. That's it. And
then there's I'm trying not to pile on.
I know.
I'm really trying. I'm like looking segment by segment, like, I can talk. And because I was like, there's the hook segment. I was like, no. Because I'm trying to do the compliment sandwich. They teach you. Here's a good thing, a bad thing, and a good thing. A good thing. I got a good thing.
Okay.
The Bucks cutting off the FTR video package is exactly what heel EVP should be doing. Don't show that. We're going to hear talk. But poor Tony sitting next to them while they're bullying him. And he's like, whatever you want, guys. Like, jeez, dude. I can't ever imagine Paul or Vince or anybody saying, yeah, that's okay. I want to be positioned as lesser than, unless it's for a strong narrative reason. And part of the thing for years at WWE is you didn't trust anything happen for a strong narrative reason. Here, at least WWE now, there's something. AEW has kind of gone the other way in, don't get too invested, don't think too much about this. I had that same thought during the Orange Cassidy Shane Taylor match. And I'm going, wait, wasn't there a feud with Orange Cassidy and Trent? Whatever happened to that? And then it came out like after, and cool. But the other compliment of the compliment sandwich here, Ospreay and Claudio had a hell of a main event.
Yeah. Those guys, man, when I saw that initially, that's like something that you do want to tune into and see. And they didn't disappoint. Like those guys, they're just on their game. It's kind of cool too to, Ospreay's having this match against Claudio. Now this on the pay-per-view, he's going against Bryan Danielson. So he's like, definitely you're getting all of Ospreay. And it is nice to see that, I think. And you want that to kind of continue in certain ways, but you also want him to stay healthy because, geez, we'll talk about him in a second, but there's another talent that isn't healthy still. So, that's an aspect that I did like from it too.
I like that. I'm not invested in Ospreay as a member of the Don Callis family,
not at all.
Because the last 2 weeks that I've seen Will Ospreay, He's been without the Don Callis family, so you almost forget that he's in it. I get that it's booking 101. What you want is you want a guy that's in a heel stable that the fans actually like. So when he breaks free, they love him even more. We've seen it time immemorial. The problem here is it's so intermittent and inconsistent. This may have been the first time I've seen Ospreay with the rest of the Don Callis family on Dynamite in weeks. Yeah. So it didn't resonate. And then the whole Ospreay, like, well, he's not stopping it, but he's not helping it. And he doesn't seem happy, but they want that big moment, and it's not going to be an earned big moment, at least how they've been presenting it here. Get Ospreay away from the rest of them. We talked yesterday, like, well, how do we use Moxley? I said, I'm sure Moxley's going to challenge Takeshita or someone. He challenged Hobbs. So we get that. That's going to be next week on TV. Mm-hmm. Let them do that and keep Ospreay separate, because my feeling is you need Fletcher and Hobbs and Takeshita as a unit if they put the title on Swerve. Mm-hmm. Because the Don Callis family needs to target the world championship. That's their whole shtick. So having Swerve battle through Kyle Fletcher and battle through Hobbs and battle through Takeshita, whoever the end game is, that's fun.
Is that intriguing matchup stuff for you? Because we talk about it too. It's like, how many of these talents aren't built up well enough? You know?
Doesn't matter. In Tony Khan world, people get heated up and then cooled off and then vanish. Orange Cassidy was a constant week in and week out on TV for months and then went away. And now he's back out there again. The Shane Taylor group. Shane Taylor was on Ring of Honor. We didn't see him at all. Now he's all over the place. His group is ubiquitous. Now we got Anthony Ogogo back, and they're making Ogogo a thing. And the AEW audience is conditioned to, we heat guys up, we pull them away, and then they come back, and we're like, cool. I saw Brody King wrestle on Dynamite. Love Brody King. Huge Brody King fan. Love working with him. Love him as a talent. House of Black has been so non-existent on Dynamite for so long. It goes to what I think is a more systemic issue at AEW, that they need a concrete brand split.
Yeah.
When guys vanish, it looks weird. But if you say this guy only is on, like if Danny Garcia is only on Collision, great. When he's on there, it feels important. It feels like he is a meaningful member of that show. When he shows up on Dynamite and he hasn't been on Dynamite in weeks and weeks and weeks, he does not feel as special. Mm-hmm. So you have enough talent. You have enough guys at a variety of levels. You can do a brand split. It's not like the combined roster is blowing it out the water in terms of ticket sales. So play some slightly smaller venues. Find something that's a 8,000 seat venue. There's tons of them in the country. You don't need to play a 20,000 seat building every week. You can play an 8,000 seat venue. And since Tony does not necessarily care about dollars and cents, you can adjust. But you know who I know cares about dollars and cents, Dom?
Who, Robert?
Our audience. And what our audience also does not want to compromise in is when it's time for them to light the stick and for that dynamite to go off in the bedroom. And that's why we got our friends at Blue Chew. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Visit BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part? It's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Guys, there are two things that you want in your pants ready to go. One is a full wallet. The other is that gimmick ready to go. And Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. We're going to take care of your wallet right now because we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo. As Benji247 says, gimmick at the ready. Guys, that's what Blue Chew's going to do. It's gonna hook up your gimmick. You're not going to regret it. And what I'm not going to regret, Dom, is our next topic, because I don't know what it is. We're going into it blind. What are we talking about coming off a Blue Chew ad?
Talking about people staying healthy. Adam Cole is not returning soon, apparently. According to Fightful Select, the former ROH and NXT champion has not attended recent AEW events and is reducing his travel schedule so he can recover quickly as possible. Obviously, he's been a part of that dreaded Devil storyline. Not very effective in regards to creating interest or nothing like that. But Adam Cole felt like a huge deal coming into AEW. Injuries has tripped him up. Angles have tripped him up. Just the state of Adam Cole, Robert. What do you think about this? And his future with AEW moving forward. It's just a tough situation.
I enjoyed what Adam Cole did years ago in Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed Adam Cole in NXT. I even thought the Undisputed Era very effective stable for NXT for developmental.
Mm-hmm.
When WWE didn't want to bring him up to the main roster outside of being a mouthpiece for Keith Lee, people laughed, they mocked it, how dare they? And then you kind of saw what Adam Cole did in AEW. And he definitely has a size issue, not in the fact that he's short. Bryan Danielson, shorter guy, absolutely delivers. Chad Gable of late, shorter guy, absolutely delivers. Adam Cole wrestles in such a way that he doesn't leverage his shorter size. Shawn Michaels did not wrestle like he was 6'5", and yet hell of a world champion, one of the all-time best, if not the all-time best. Adam Cole insists on wrestling as if he is 6'3", 6'4", and it winds up detracting from a lot of the matches and a lot of the people that he works with. The stuff that he put together with MJF when they were friends who weren't friends but then became friends, which harkened back to, when I was at WWE, we did a similar thing with Eddie and Batista. Mm-hmm. Are they really friends? Are they not friends? And what wound up happening was we had so much fun writing these bits about Guerrero and Batista pretending to be friends, but they were friends, that we just kind of kept it going and the audience loved it. And that's what we had with Cole and MJF. And I don't think I'm talking out of turn to say that this Devil storyline did not originate as an Adam Cole piece. It felt tailor-made for CM Punk. It felt like you had two world champions. This is where we're building to this. And then you had to shoehorn it in Black Scorpion style. Cole not being on TV should have been a big deal. He's been on there as the mouthpiece. He has built this undisputed kingdom. If you're not there, you're going, man, where's Adam Cole? Why is Adam Cole not on TV? Now, I don't even notice that Adam Cole is not on TV. I noticed that Wardlow wasn't on TV again. Yeah. After cutting promos about I need to be used and I need to be here. I noticed that Roderick Strong and Bennett and Taven were reduced to a video package. I think Strong and Kyle O'Reilly were feuding or not feuding or something. Kind of went away. Nobody really noticed. But the longer Adam Cole is off TV, the less people are clamoring for him. It's funny, but on the other channel with WWE right now, we are going into a summer where there's no Rhea Ripley, there's no Roman Reigns, there's no Rock. Temporarily, there's no Seth Rollins, there's no Becky Lynch. But there is such a plethora of, there's no CM Punk. There's just a plethora of other guys that you can just plug in that you don't necessarily notice that they're missing. In AEW, it's more people just come and go. You know, the Acclaimed were the hottest act in wrestling across the board. You had to tune in to hear the rap. You wanted to see the shit that they were doing. The merchandise that they sold was through the roof. Everybody loved the scissoring stuff. And then they just were off television for no reason. So Adam Cole not being on TV is not raising his stock. It's not like people are going, man, I can't wait till Adam Cole was back. It's, hey, we as the audience have moved on to the new bright young star in Chris Jericho.
That's it. No, it is disappointing. It's like, all these talents that come in there, you get excited for the potential when AEW is pretty hot and like, hey, what are they going to do? But then you're seeing this, the chickens come home to roost and it's not delivering. It's underwhelming and it's forgettable. And so, Adam Cole, would love to see him get back into it and have a different set of storyline, have something going on. But it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch, Robert.
It's difficult to watch. Obviously, we hope he heals up soon and he comes back. And to quote Principal Skinner, prove us wrong, kids. Prove us wrong.
Yes, prove us wrong indeed. Something that Skinner might be a fan of is Lunchtime, Robert.
Oh, I see what you were trying to do. Man, that was so smooth. That was so easy. You know what's easier than that? Preparing meals with Factor.
Oh,
guys, let's eat stress-free this spring with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up for your springtime goals. Legit peek behind the curtain. Today, I had people here installing new ovens in my house. I have been without an oven for the better part of 3 weeks due to back orders and issues and all that. So I've been living with just my toaster oven and my microwave. And as soon as I started getting those Factor meals, guys, I was eating so good, I didn't need this oven. I've got these ovens here. They look nice. They're going to sit there because with this, I get chef prepared meals in 2 minutes. I can cook it myself. My wife, hell of a cook. I, terrible cook. And somehow I'm churning out fast premium meals on the regular. And guys, Factor wants to help you do that same thing. Head to factormeals.com/rumor50 and use code rumor50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That's code rumor50 at factormeals.com/rumor50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. As soon as we finish this show, Dom, I'm popping a Factor meal in. I'm heating it up because at 1 o'clock, we're recording this week's episode of Wrestle Roasts. So I got a very short window to pack that lunch in, and I'm excited for that. I'm also excited. Quick little note here from Stephen Chambers. Congratulations to Ruby Soho announcing she's pregnant. That was part of the Rampage spoiler tapings. So sorry, guys. Sorry if that ruined your Rampage viewing. But it's pretty exciting that Ruby able to work this into a story. Her and Parker, legitimately a couple, legitimately having a child. So mazel tov to both of them, from all of us here at Rumor and Innuendo.
Many congratulations to both of them. Yeah. All right, moving on to a different topic. We're talking about Vince McMahon yet again.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. So that
could have been our Blue Chews move right there, folks.
That could have been it. But yes, so Vince McMahon apparently, CNBC wrote a little bit of an article talking about what he's been doing in his off time. Some interesting stuff going on here. I'll read some.
I've read this. This is something else.
This is something else. So here's one. For instance, on an afternoon in late March, McMahon returned on a private plane to the United States from sunny Turks in Caicos Island.
Turks and Caicos.
Thank you, Turk and Caicos.
This is not a bit, guys. This needs to be a sponsored segment.
Yes,
we need let's get Dave on the horn and the fine folks at Podcast Heat. We need to sponsor Dom's mispronunciation of the day. Where's Duolingo? Open up the wallet. We can make this happen.
It's not a gimmick, guys. It's not a gimmick.
Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, Turks and Caicos.
Look, Ospreay on his the AEW thing or whatever literally said he's like, I'm dyslexic. I can't even read. Dude's one of the best of all time.
Yes.
So you can read, occasionally mispronouncing some words. Best producer, best co-host of all time, despite the Jets hat. Vince went to Turks and Caicos.
He went to Turks and Caicos Islands, but he wasn't alone. According to a person close to him, he had with him 7 kittens and a puppy, all of which he brought back to be adopted by his friend, this person added. If anything, he's enjoying life, said the person, who added that McMahon has also taken a trip to Italy. Attorney Jesse Rosenberg, who was the attorney for Vince McMahon, declined to comment regarding the aspects of the former WWE Chief's Life reported in this article. In an email statement Tuesday, however, she criticized Grant's suit, Janelle Grant. The lawsuit claims that are false, defamatory, and entirely without merit. We intend to vigorously defend Vince McMahon and are confident that he will be vindicated. Vince is also often ferried by a private driver from his posh Connecticut home in Manhattan. Sounds like lifestyle's rich and famous, according to one of the sources close to him. There, he eats with friends at restaurants such as the old school Italian spot Il Tonello East on 46th Street.
That one you nailed.
Yeah, that one I nailed of all things. Sees his longtime barber for bi-weekly haircuts and works with his personal trainer multiple times a week, the source said. Two other sources, however, say McMahon has otherwise been quite guarded and often on the phone with his lawyers to map out plans since Grant's lawsuit was made public. Hey, another report. Vince has also talked to Trump, according to two of the people close to the wrestling and personality. The first two billionaires been in touch. The two billionaires have been in touch regularly, according to a person close to McMahon, although it isn't clear what they've discussed. Now, this was denied.
I think we can guess what they've discussed.
Yes.
Not so. The most shocking part of this entire thing is the image of Vince McMahon with kittens and a puppy. Here,
look what I brought.
I got you a puppy. Like what? I would love. Here, kitty. Like it's so creepy. It's so horrifying. The idea of Vince McMahon with like puppies and kittens, and not like the Jerry Lawler kind either.
Yes,
but this makes it so much more unsettling. Yeah, Vince is an incredibly rich guy. He's got free time on his hands. He doesn't like free time on his hands, and he's traveling, but he's not a guy who likes vacations. He owns a place in Boca Raton, like 10 minutes from where I live. Literally 2 minutes from where SC Scoops' impresario Mike lives. His family compound right by the McMahon apartment tower, penthouse, whatever the hell it may be. But Vince is not I want to go lay on a beach and vacation kind of guy. So he's sort of forced. So let's feel bad for him. He's forced to have to go to the Turks and Caicos and Italy and try to unwind. And him and Trump have been friends for decades. Trump actually in the Ringmaster book behind me, which is written by Abraham Josie Reisman, highly recommended book, by the way. It talks about that Vince was one of the few people when Trump was in office, he would take direct phone calls with, and all the advisors had to leave the room. So they've had a private relationship, a private friendship for decades, which fills in a hell of a lot of the puzzle pieces, Dom. Look, Vince is going to be a fixture in the news. I know he's put up the remaining shares of his TKO stock, and there's some people saying, oh, maybe he'll open another wrestling company. I don't see that happening. I'm sure in his own mind, in his own ego, he would build something back up and crush everybody. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's probably upset Epstein Island is closed. So he's going to go fly over to Jeddah and get a nice place somewhere in Saudi Arabia. And there will be a delightful picture of him like riding a camel. He will live out his days doing whatever the hell it is that he's going to do. And you're going to get some of these weird stories. The thing I'm waiting for is, when is he going to shave the mustache?
That's it. Oh, man. Yeah. Just imagine cats and a puppy around him and like him looking like a weird Walt Disney is it's quite the visual.
It's quite the visual, but what's quite the audio is hearing Dominic DeAngelo's other incredible podcast. Dom, where can the fine people find you?
Yeah, guys, you can find me at RVD TV doing the one of a kind with RVD podcast. Go there. Rob and I just dropped a new episode this past Monday at 4:20. Every Monday at 4:20, we drop one. And we got a good one this week where he recounts WrestleMania, his experience there, wrestling speedball Mike Bailey in the ECW arena with Jerry Lynn and Fonzie at his side. Pretty cool stuff. Take a watch of that. Go to rvdtv.com and then also go to fourhorsemannetwork.com to check out the new Straight Talk with the Boss. Magnum TA and Greg Gagne cover generational stars. We're recording a new episode today at 4 p.m. So if you guys hear this before then, we're going live on fourhorsemannetwork.com. And you can tune in, ask Greg, ask Magnum a question, and let's keep this stuff cooking. So go there, check it out. And yeah, that's basically it. I've got some cool articles coming up on scscoops.com, so keep your eyes peeled for that too. Robert, what are
More importantly, tomorrow at noon Eastern on Rumor and Innuendo, wherever you catch this show visually, or if you listen to it in audio form on iTunes, Spotify, and the like. We will get to hear about Dominic DeAngelo's experience participating in the AEW press conference call. Hopefully you get to ask Tony a pertinent question, guys. That starts at 2 p.m. Eastern today. If you do have a good question,
actually, it's 1 p.m. Robert. It's
1 p.m.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I don't know. I think usually they do them at 2 p.m., but this one's at 1 p.m. or so. Yeah, they called an audible on us.
Unbelievable. Well, then it's 12:31 right now. If you're listening live, feel free to tweet Dominic DeAngelo. Use hashtag RIPod. Give us your question that you want to ask Tony Khan. My question is just going to be, what? But on behalf of the man with true journalistic integrity, Dominic DeAngelo, I'm Robert Karpeles. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Have your pet spayed and neutered, pal.